2025, a year that echoes in the corridors of time, loaded with mysteries that humanity dares not decipher. As you watch this video, cosmic forces move in the heavens. NASA records celestial alignments that have not occurred for centuries. Meanwhile, on Earth, the drums of war resound in the Middle East, as if an ancient script were being followed to the letter. Prophecies buried in the pages of the Bible for millennia now pulsate with eerie relevance. Coincidence? Or are we witnessing the first signs of an event that will change everything? In this video, we will connect the dots between the astronomical events of 2025, the explosive geopolitical situation, and the prophetic words that foretold this very moment. What you are about to see is not fiction. It is facts, data, and a question that will echo in your mind long after this video ends. Are we living in the last acts? Science and the heavens are about to put on a rare show in 2025, and NASA has all the dates mapped out. On March 28th, during the Purim celebration, a penumbral lunar eclipse will cross the sky, an event that in ancient times was seen as a divine sign. But this is just the beginning. September will bring an astronomical conjunction that will make even skeptics hesitate. Jupiter and Venus, the two brightest planets in our sky, will meet in a cosmic dance so close that they could be mistaken for a single luminous star. Historically, this phenomenon is associated with the Star of Bethlehem, which, according to tradition, guided the Magi to the birth of Jesus. Is this just a coincidence, or is the universe repeating a pattern? And there's more. Depending on atmospheric conditions, we could witness a blood moon, a total lunar eclipse that turns the moon red, a spectacle that the Book of Joel associates with the last days. NASA has the calculations, astronomers have the telescopes, but the question that no one can answer is, what do these signs in the sky really mean? Because 2,000 years ago, an ancient text already spoke of signs in the sun, moon, and stars, preceding times of global transformation. The scientific data is there. Now all that remains is to decipher what the cosmos is trying to tell us. Purim is not just a Jewish holiday. It is a timeless record of how a people's destiny can change in a single day. In the 5th century BC, when the decree of extermination hung over the Jews, a queen named Esther and her uncle Mordecai turned the tables on Haman, the architect of the genocide. What seemed like the end became liberation. Now, in 2025, Purim will fall on March 28th, coinciding with a lunar eclipse, something the sages of the Talmud associate with moments of divine change. But why 2025 specifically? Calculations of the Hebrew calendar reveal striking patterns. We are approaching a possible Jubilee year, the 50-year cycle that in the Torah represents restoration and freedom. Some scholars have noted that the time between the reunification of Jerusalem in 1967, a prophetic event in itself, and 2025 is 58 years, a gap that appears in mystical texts as a precursor of great transformations. And that's not all. The name Esther comes from the Hebrew word Hester, which means hiding, a reference to the invisible hand of God acting behind human events. Could it be that, as in the past, the Purim 2025 eclipse will mark another moment when what seems like a death sentence will turn into deliverance? The parallels are hard to miss. As the world watches the heavens, students of prophecy watch the calendar, and history seems about to repeat itself. At the heart of biblical prophecy is one of the most enigmatic texts, Daniel's 70 weeks. Revealed to the prophet during the Babylonian exile, these weeks are no ordinary days. Each represents 7 years. The prophecy charts a divine timetable from the rebuilding of Jerusalem to the coming of the Messiah. But there is one final week that remains unfulfilled. The 70th week. Scholars estimate that this is a 7-year period that will culminate in catastrophic events and the final restoration. And here's what makes 2025 so special. If we count the prophetic cycles, this year could mark the beginning of those 7 decisive years. What exactly would trigger this period? The book of Daniel mentions a covenant that will be made with many, and in recent years we have seen global political movements pushing for peace agreements involving Israel that could fit this description. Would it be an international treaty over Jerusalem? A territorial division? The prophetic clock seems to be ticking towards midnight. As world leaders debate Middle East peace, Bible students are watching closely, for according to Daniel, once this final week begins, the world will never be the same again. Are we on the threshold of the most crucial chapter in human history? As tensions in the Middle East reach alarming levels, an ancient prophetic text takes on new urgency. The book of Ezekiel, chapter 38, describes a coalition of nations led by Gog of the land of Magog that will march against Israel in the last days. Who might these enemies be today? Many scholars point to an alliance between Russia, Iran, and Turkey, nations that are currently demonstrating increasing hostility toward the Jewish state. The recent attacks by the Iranian armed and funded Hamas, the fiery speeches of Iranian leaders promising Israel's destruction, and Russia's growing involvement in the region, all of these seem to echo the words written 2,600 years ago. Ezekiel prophesied that these nations would come like a storm, like a cloud covering the land, but that they would meet their downfall on the mountains of Israel. The current geopolitical landscape fits this description disturbingly. Recent videos show leaders of these nations openly threatening Israel, while the country finds itself increasingly isolated on the international stage. Are we witnessing the preparations for the fulfillment of this prophecy? One thing is certain. The clock in the Middle East is ticking faster and faster, and the pieces appear to be moving exactly as predicted millennia ago. In September 2025, the heavens will present a spectacle that has been predicted and misinterpreted before. Revelation chapter 12 describes a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and a crown of 12 stars. In 2017, a rare astronomical alignment between the sun, moon, and the constellation Leo was interpreted by many as the fulfillment of this vision. But what if the real sign is yet to come? In 2025, an even more precise configuration will occur, with Jupiter, the king planet, positioned as the celestial crown, while Venus and Mercury complete the picture. Coincidence, or a cosmic clock ticking prophetic time? Meanwhile, Jesus' words in Luke 21 echo with unsettling relevance. There will be signs in the sun, in the moon, and in the stars, and on the earth distress of nations, with perplexity at the roaring of the sea and the waves. What many don't realize is that the original word for distress in the Greek text is sunoche, a term that describes a progressive tightening like labor pains. Could the celestial events of 2025, combined with the current geopolitical chaos, be showing us that humanity is entering the final stage of this cosmic birth? Ancient Persian astrologers studied the heavens for signs. The Magi followed a star to Bethlehem. What about us? What will we do with the signs that are being revealed above our heads? The world stands on a precipice. As NATO expands its borders, China builds its military might, and the Middle East remains a powder keg ready to explode. Jesus' words in Matthew 24 resonate with frightening urgency. And you will hear of wars and rumors of wars, for nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. Not since World War II have so many nuclear powers come so close to direct conflict. Military analysts warn that we are in a period similar to the years leading up to 1914 and 1939, times when the world slept while the geopolitical chess pieces moved silently. Ukraine, Taiwan, the Strait of Hormuz, North Korea, each of these flashpoints could become the trigger for a global conflict, and at the center of it all is Israel, the nation that prophecies place at the epicenter of the final events. When Jesus spoke of rumors of wars, he used the Greek word akoe, which means not just news, but a distant sound that is approaching, like thunder before a storm. Are we hearing that thunder now? As world leaders gather for urgent summits and financial markets teeter on the edge of each new threat, one question lingers. Will 2025 mark the beginning of the conflict that will redefine the world order? Or is there still time to avert the inevitable? Is the United States, the most powerful nation of the last century, losing its place in the world? Ancient prophecies may hold the answer. In the book of Daniel, chapter 2, Nebuchadnezzar's dream reveals a statue with feet of iron and clay, a symbol of a divided and fragile empire in the last days. Many scholars see this as a reference to the decline of the last great empire before the end of time. And the numbers are alarming. America's debt has surpassed $34 trillion. Its military is facing unprecedented challenges, and political divisions are deeper than ever. The dollar, once the world's undisputed currency, is losing ground to new global economic alliances. Meanwhile, China is advancing, Russia is challenging, and the Middle East is reorganizing itself without Western leadership. Could this be the beginning of the end of the American era? Prophecies suggest that in the last days, no empire will have absolute dominion, and the power vacuum will lead to global chaos. The US, which for decades has been the world's policeman, appears to be stepping back just as global tensions reach their peak. Are we witnessing the silent fulfillment of a 2,600-year-old prophecy? As Washington debates budgets and elections, the prophetic clock continues its relentless march. An event as mysterious as it is expected, the rapture. In 1 Thessalonians 4:16-17, Paul describes the moment when the faithful will be caught up in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air. But when will this happen? Some theorists believe that 2025 may be the year. Why? It all starts with the heavenly signs. The conjunction of Jupiter and Venus in September 2025, known as the Star of Bethlehem, may not just be an astronomical phenomenon, but a divine sign. Furthermore, the lunar eclipse during Purim and the planetary alignment described in Revelation 12 reinforce the idea that the heavens are preparing for something great. Prophecy scholars point out that 77 years have passed since the founding of Israel in 1948, a symbolic number in the Bible associated with judgment and redemption. Others point out that 2025 marks 2,000 years since the crucifixion of Christ, a period that many interpret as the completion of the times of the Gentiles. Will the long-awaited rapture occur right now, as science maps celestial events and geopolitics unfolds as prophesied? Millions of eyes are turning to the heavens, waiting for the call that will change everything. The question is no longer if, but when, and 2025 seems to be at the center of that expectation. The world is on the brink of a technological revolution that could redefine what it means to live in society. Central bank digital currencies, the rise of artificial intelligence, and global surveillance systems are converging toward a future where control will be absolute. But could this transformation have its roots in an ancient prophecy? In the book of Revelation, chapter 13, verses 16-18, there is talk of a mark that everyone will be forced to receive on their right hand or forehead, without which no one will be able to buy or sell. For centuries, this description was a mystery. Today, however, technology is making it frighteningly plausible. CBDCs, digital currencies controlled by governments, are already being tested in several countries, promising to replace physical money. Biometric identification systems and subcutaneous microchips are becoming popular as solutions for security and convenience. And artificial intelligence capable of tracking and analyzing every human movement completes the picture. The question that cannot be ignored: are we seeing the foundations of the mark of the beast being laid before our eyes? As global leaders talk of rebooting the economy and reimagining society, students of prophecy are taking notice. What is being sold as progress may in fact be the prelude to the greatest system of control ever imagined. Exactly as predicted 2,000 years ago, In light of all that has been revealed, one question becomes inevitable. How can we prepare for what may be coming? The answer lies in two fundamental pillars, the spiritual and the physical. Spiritually, the Bible is clear: watch and pray. This does not mean living in panic, but in readiness, with our hearts aligned with God's will. Prayer is not an empty ritual, but a powerful weapon against uncertainty. Vigilance is not paranoia, but discernment to recognize the times in which we live. Keep your faith active, your mind alert, and your connection to the divine strong. Physically, preparedness doesn't have to be extreme, but it does need to be conscious. Having a basic emergency plan, such as a supply of non-perishable water, essential foods, medications, and a first aid kit, is not alarmism, it's wisdom. Learning simple skills, such as growing a vegetable garden or understanding basic security, can make all the difference in times of uncertainty. Balance is key. It's not about stockpiling weapons or running for the hills, but about being prepared to protect your family calmly and responsibly. The world may be changing rapidly, but one thing is certain: those who are spiritually awake and physically prepared will face the future not with fear, but with confidence. 2025 is approaching, and with it, the signs we have discussed today. But here is the truth that needs to echo in your heart. Do not fear. The same scriptures that predict turbulent times also bring the most powerful promise. Fear not, for I am with you. Isaiah 41:10. Yes, be wise, be prepared, keep your eyes open for the signs of the times. But above all, remember, the one who controls the stars, nations, and history is the same God who promised never to abandon us. This video was not made to sow panic, but to awaken discernment. Now I want to hear from you. After everything we have seen today, do you believe that 2025 will be a decisive year in prophecy? Leave your perspective in the comments. And if you want to continue this journey of discovery, subscribe now, because the next chapters of this prophetic analysis are just beginning. Remember, the future may be uncertain, but hope springs eternal. Until the next video, stay alert but at peace.